morning, everybody, and welcome back stateside as the PGA Tour is sadly, or at least in my case, done with the 2-week Hawaiian swing. Well, I guess for my visual purposes, it's a sad thing, but maybe not for my DFS game, as it was a tough first 2 weeks for me. But we're back stateside here for the American Express, and this is the course and player preview for the American Express Classic. I think it's just actually called the American Express, which makes it a little bit weird for us content creators about how to really pronounce it. It used to be called the Desert Classic. Before that, the Bob Hope Chrysler Charity Classic. It's been named so many different things. But one thing remains constant. We normally get a large field. There's 154 players here this week, maybe even up to 156 actually now that I'm reading the notes here. 152 are in. There is no open qualifying, so just the field that's printed. Obviously, with such a big field for the American Express here, they don't need to throw in those Monday qualifiers, if you will. And the other thing that's different here about the American Express Classic here this week is that typically it's done over 3 courses, and it's a 3-day cut, so the top 60 in ties would make it after Saturday's round. But because there's going to be no Pro-Am this year because of COVID, it's actually just going to go to 2 courses. They're going to rotate between the first 2 days, then they'll play the PGA West course first. So let's go ahead and dive into that. 2 courses this week, the PGA West and PGA Nicholas course. PGA West course, which is going to have 3 or 4 rounds, is a par 72, measuring just around 7,100 yards. Driving accuracy, we're going to hit the fairway about 62% of the time this week. Greens in regulation, though, however, because the rough is dormant this time of year in Palm Springs area where they're going to be, it's very easy to hit out of. It's not long at all by any stretch, and it's brown. It's pretty ugly, to be honest with you. You're going to hit the green about 70% of the times, even though they are super small greens. So what that's going to do is that's also going to bring up scrambling percentage and is easy because they are small greens with not a ton of undulation. Hey, listen, it's a resort course. It's part of the Silverado Resort. No surprise to see it easier. They are some of the easiest greens the golfers will play all year. Easiest holes are 8 and 16, the 2 par 5s, but they don't reach over 10% of the total DraftKings scoring. So still plenty of, I should say, there's plenty of scoring opportunities and not one more so than the other. Okay, the hardest hole is going to be 13th on the PGA West course. The top DFS score last year done by Andrew Landry. He scored 158 DraftKings points last year, one of the highest marks for a winner all year, so expect another super low-scoring event. I already mentioned 156 players in the field. Only one ranked in the current top 10, Jon Rahm. He's ranked number 2 in the world. This is a feature spot for him where he likes to start his stateside season each and every year. He's done it the last couple of years. But we have 9 inside the top 50, which is definitely a uptick for this event. Good golfers here like Matthew Wolff is here this week, Brooks Koepka, and a few others. So a couple of others that are also here in terms of sponsor invites here this week, which of course we always want to keep tabs on. Never know what a good player is going to come out of these random categories. The major medical last week, in fact, we had a major medical guy come in and tied for second, Chris Kirk, in his last start before the major medical runs up. And if you guys aren't familiar with that, I'll go over that in just a second. He's able to place the tie for second, earning his full card back. So Chris Kirk was actually out due to alcohol and depression. So he went through a really dark time in his life, probably about a year and a half ago, was able to come back, made it all the way back. And what happens on the PGA Tour when you get hurt or are sick like that, they give you a specific amount of starts to equal what the top 125 golfers would do in the previous year. However, you're only given a certain amount of starts, so it's not like you have a full season to do it. So Chris Kirk got it done in his last start. James Hahn is another guy that has come out of this category over the past couple of years, so keep an eye on that. Okay, sponsor invites here this week. John Augenstein. We saw this kid play at Augusta and play quite well, make the weekend. Didn't win low amateur. That did not go to him. That went to, the name is escaping me right now, but I'm sure Andy Ogletree, I'm sorry, came to me there. Akshay Bhatia, kind of from this area when he lives in near Raleigh, near North Carolina now, but Bhatia originally from California in this area, I believe, and he'll get a start here. In fact, this was the site of his first ever PGA Tour. Good start, I should say. Not his first ever. That was at the Valspar last year. Harry Hall also getting a nod this week, as is Aaron Badley, coming off a pretty good start there at the Sony Open. Nick Watney, Josh Teeter, and the last one, save the best for last, maybe Joe Young Kim, the young star. Thomas, the tank engine he goes by. I'm not sure why, but he is back in the field this week from South Korea. Very young, promising star, so keep an eye on him. Okay, so now let's go over my highest salary player guesses last week. And that's the problem when you do content early, so to speak, because if there are withdrawals, you might have to change it or whatnot. But I had Patrick Reed and Victor Hovland in the top 5 price last week. They withdrew. But the other 3 I got right. They priced Webb at 11-1. They priced Morikawa at 10-8. They priced Harris English at 10-8, and they priced Colin Morikawa at 10-6. So got those 3 right. Obviously, the 2 other guys withdrawing, I got those wrong. But we're back on it here this week. Again, I mentioned Jon Rahm is the top player here this week. I suspect that DraftKings will throw him up around 11-4 or 11-5 this week. He's a little bit better player than Webb Simpson. No offense to Webb, of course, but I think that Jon Rahm's price probably dictates a little bit higher given the field strength. He'll probably be somewhere around 11,500, somewhere in that range. Brooks Koepka, I expect to come in around 10-8. Tony Finau also in the field around 10-5. I mentioned Matthew Wolff in the field 10-3. Sungjae Im, the chalk of last week, at 9-8. So they'll move him up to 10-1. And then they'll get guys like Ricky Fowler, who's out of the top 50 in the world for the first time in as long as I can remember. I suspect he'll be somewhere in the low 9s here this week. So Jon Rahm, 11-4, Brooks Koepka, 10-8, Tony Finau, 10-5, Matthew Wolff, 10-3, and Sungjae Im, 10-1. Actually, upon further review, I just saw that 2 Patricks, of course one of my favorite players, Patrick Cantlay and Patrick Reed, were late adds to the tournament, especially after they announced there would be no Pro-Ams. I just saw that, so my apologies. So what we're going to do is I'm going to redo the top 5 pricing here. So we're still going to stick with Jon Rahm at 11-4, 11-5 in that range. Then we're going to go with Patrick Cantlay next. I think he's played well enough. And in this field, the only other golfer ranked inside the top 10. I suspect he'll come in the high 10s. Then we're going to go Brooks Koepka. Then I think we're going to get Patrick Reed, Matthew Wolff, and Sungjae Im. So maybe just a few little swaps up there. And, of course, salary should be out by the time you're seeing this. They could already be out, and if not, then they should be out within a minute. So that will do it for the course and player preview here for the American Express. Plenty of good contests posted already over there on DraftKings, so another big week in front of us. So until next time, everybody, thanks for coming by my course and player preview, and we will see you next week for another one. It is the Farmers Insurance. Cheers, everybody.